high banks of Daytona International Speedway, where all of NASCAR's greats have tested themselves and their machines over the years. In a moment, a field of 43 will take to the track as the 30th season of racing for the NASCAR Nationwide Series begins. Tony Stewart, one to watch. The last 3 straight, 5 of the last 6 years, he's gone to victory lane at the end of this race. Can he do it again today here at Daytona? Another driver to watch, Michael Waltrip, the 2-time Daytona 500 winner. He won last night's NASCAR Camping World Series truck race here with a last lap pass. Michael, of course, so much in the remembrances of Dale Earnhardt. Michael winning that 2001 race, driving for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated at the time. An emotional win for him here last night. No one would be surprised if Michael went to victory lane again today. He starts in 26th position. Marty Reed, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie are upstairs getting set to call the race. Knowns and unknowns. There are so many things that the experienced drivers know that maybe some of the more inexperienced drivers are about to find out, huh, Marty?
Absolutely, Alan. Hello again, everybody. Glad that you're with us for another season. Experience versus inexperience. Dale Jr. maybe said it best in the pre-race and also yesterday after qualifying when he said, hey, even when I came here the first couple times, nobody wanted to dance with me around this track either.
Yeah, and we have some less experienced drivers up with some very fast race cars, and they may feel like for at least half of this race they have no friends whatsoever. But what they're going to have to do is become pushers, and good pushers, and show that they have the experience and the talent to make sure that they can work well in the draft with someone. They may be surprised by the end of things today that they might get someone pushing on their bumper by showing some courtesy out there, doing the right things throughout the day. They may get that push they need to get to the front.
Hey, let's be fair. When Dale Jr. came here for the first time, he wound up upside down on his lid. So there's a reason that people may not want to run with the younger drivers. But I do believe today, with this new drafting technique that we've seen in the new track, I believe that this inexperience is going to hurt a lot of these drivers. They're going to have to really learn quickly during this race to be a factor at the end, because the Cup drivers kind of got it down pat.
Well, let's talk about the other elements here. I mean, tire wear has been non-existent on this new surface, but the new closed-end refueling system, what are we going to see on pit road?
Well, that refueling system is going to be tricky, and we're going to see problems on pit road. I do believe that it could affect the outcome of the race, but somebody having a problem with it. The track is so smooth and the tire wear is so little that you're going to see all of the focus, if not most of the focus, on the refueling of the race cars.
Got just a few seconds. What about the temperature? It's going to be the hottest. Is it going to affect these radiators?
Well, it could affect the cooling systems for sure.
All right, well, let's go trackside, because it's time to fire the engines for the first time in 2011.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's co-grand marshals, winners of the Drive for COPD Behringer Ingelheim Employee Sweepstakes, Robert Patrick Sparrow, Kim Mills, Stephen Spencer, and Ronald Paul Frawley, along with the winners of the Drive for COPD Ultimate NASCAR Weekend, Chris York and Andrew York, as they deliver the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
It'll be best because me and Trevor plan on that for a little while. The commitment line, and I'll hand him off to you, and you talk him into the box and back out. And then I will pick him up there so I don't talk over you in pits.
43 cars. Beautiful paint schemes, all of them new and all of them ready to race. And of course, our in-race reporter is going to be Dale Earnhardt Jr., driver of the number 5 Hellman Chevrolet. He's going to be starting in that 3rd position. And just flashing back to last July, that's right, in the Wrangler colors, sporting the number 3, it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning his 6th time in the Nationwide Series as the fans paid tribute to his late father. Can he make it number 7 today? We'll talk to him when we come back. See if there's another emotional day for the Earnhardt family here at Daytona. Cars just rolling out onto this 2.5-mile Daytona International Speedway under crystal clear skies and a wonderfully warm Florida day. For everybody who's been suffering through the cold, take a look at those conditions. It's going to be the warmest by the time we get deep into this race that it's been through the entire speed weeks. But as the 43 go out to take the pace laps, of course, we are getting pumped up for the 2011 campaign for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Of course, a lot of memories this week with the 10-year anniversary of the loss of Dale Earnhardt Sr. Do you realize that it was exactly 17 years ago today at this very track that Dale won his 7th and final nationwide race at Daytona International Speedway, the last one of his 21 starts. And of course, we talked about how Junior won back in July. If he does it again today, he could tie his father on the 17th anniversary of his last Daytona win. There's their starts, there's their totals, and of course, Dale Sr. leads all drivers. Let's talk to our in-race reporter. How about it, DJ?
Hey, Dale Jr., Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. Do you have a copy?
Simple.
Hey, man, our first question is from our mailbag, and Dustin in Harrisburg, Virginia asked, with the new Nationwide and Cup cars being so similar, what can you take from the race today that will help you in the Daytona 500?
Well, we all know really that you need to be pushing the leader off forward to win the race, to have a shot at pulling out draft by him, and we're all seeing that's really how it's going to work. So, but you got to be in that two-car tandem leading the race at the end. So you got to race pretty hard, push hard all day long to try to stay up in that track position and give yourself that opportunity, and hopefully you stay with the same partner all day.
Hey, Junior, you kind of led to my next question is, it was going to be, let's fast forward to lap 119. You're saying you want to be in that second spot whenever you're coming to get the checkered flag?
Yeah, I mean, it's what we've been seeing mostly in the races here lately. It's easy, you know, you just pull out the leaders are sitting duck at that point. So that's probably a good position.
All right, Junior. You have a great day today. Thanks for talking with us. And now Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Chris Heroy.
Simple.
Hey, Chris, Andy Petrie in the booth. You have us?
Hey, Andy, how you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good, man. We're talking about some of the strategy that we might see with this new refueling system and all the grip in the track. Try to give us some insight what we are going to see when the cars hit pit road.
You're going to see a premium of getting the car full and just maintaining drafting partners under green and quick stops under yellow. So something along those lines.
Will we see a lot of tire changes, or will you kind of bypass some of those today?
I don't know. We'll just have to see how they look.
Okay, Chris. Thanks a lot for talking to us, and good luck today.
Chris just is not going to share those company secrets with us. All right. Well, good luck to everybody out there. Our onboard cameras today. You already know we've got one with Dale Jr. as our in-race reporter. How about Tony Stewart going for 4 in a row? Danica Patrick, Kyle Busch, Justin Allgaier, Clint Boyer is going to start from the pole. Carl Edwards and Stephen Wallace all have onboard cameras here in the opening race of 2011. Now, the 22 of Brad Keselowski had to change helmets. He was back on pit road. You could see the helmet exchange, and this is the preparation that Penske has. I mean, they didn't bring one helmet. They had 2. So they are going to be able to get that fixed and get him back out onto the track, but he is still sitting on pit road as of right now. Let's talk about the calendar for the rest of the weekend. Sports Center following the race, 4 Eastern on ESPN2, and our NASCAR Now tomorrow at 9 a.m. on ESPN2 and 10 Eastern over on ESPN. Then next Saturday, 5 Eastern on ESPN2. We'll be coming to you from Phoenix. And the quarter milers get going at the NHRA Winter Nationals, qualifying 11 Eastern on ESPN2 Saturday. The final Sunday at 7 Eastern, also on ESPN2. Back here at Daytona on the final pace lap. Across the top of the screen is the starting field. Brett Rowe, Jennifer Jo Cobb did not qualify for the race. Let's get the latest on that 22 situation. Vince, what's going on?
Got to have communication here at Daytona. Spotters team driver. That was the issue with Brad Keselowski's helmet. It was a wiring problem. They weren't able to communicate with him. He just mentioned a moment ago that the sound was way too loud in his headset. He was concerned about that, and they're also concerned whether or not they got the window net locked appropriately. So keep an eye on the 22 here in the early stages. Dave Burns?
Vince, if youth is served here today, it could be by the red number 1 of Landon Castle, whom we spoke to earlier. Only one start here in a truck race, only made 1 lap. But the 31 car of Justin Allgaier, also very quick, and some off-season testing taught him how to do this drafting thing. Jamie Little.
And because Danica Patrick has just 13 races under her belt, she's relying heavily on her team. This was her on the radio just moments ago.
All right, good luck everybody today, and I'll do everything I can to get all I can get out there. And Chip, Tony Jr., you guys just tell me what to do. You know, you're the ones with the experience, so just tell me what to do out there, and I'll do it. You know, just help keep me aware of what's going on, and we'll be good.
So the comments of Danica Patrick as the pace car comes down out of turn number 4, and it looks like we are getting ready to start the 2011 season. I hope you're ready because I know we are. The pace car pulls down below the line. Coming to the start, it's led by Clint Boyer, Landon Castle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Danica Patrick. And the green flag flies, and the 2011 NASCAR Nationwide Series season is green. Coming out of turn number 2, you can already see a couple of the cars getting in that 2-car tandem hookup, namely the 2 Sprint Cup veterans, Boyer and Dale Jr.
Yeah, I'm real interested to see just how this is going to work. If it's going to work like we did with the Cup cars, you see Landon Castle now losing a little bit of touch of the leaders. Are these 2 cars going to be able to break away like we've seen?
And automatically, you see Landon jump in front of Danica.
Yeah, she's going to have to get up on that rear bumper and really give him a push. The draft is affected differently now with these new cars and this new pavement.
Clint Boyer's going to lead lap number 1 officially with Earnhardt, Allgaier, Logano, Kyle Busch. That is your top 5.
You see Justin Allgaier kind of stuck there by himself. He tucks it in line.
3 wide back in the middle of this field. We saw it last night in the Truck Series. Coming down the back straightaway again, and now we have 2 of those 2-car hookups. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, the teammates, pushing on the high side.
He got 4 veterans up front that have done this for a week now, so they've learned how to do it pretty well.
See Ricky Stenhouse there in the 6 car, stuck in the middle with no drafting partner right now, is getting help.
Change for the lead. Here we go as Joey Logano gets the push from Kyle. They'll take the lead on lap number 2.
When this 2-car drafting is done right now, as you see, they're going to switch as they got to the lead because that second car's running a little bit on the warm side. But when it's done right, it looks like they're 5, almost 10 miles an hour faster.
Yeah, look at this. Like this right here. You see Clint Boyer getting a big push from Junior.
Junior's got to get a little air on his radiator. We talked about the temperatures being warmer.
Look at Stewart.
Tony Stewart shoots up through the middle. He is getting the push now.
You know, the Cup teams have done a lot of research on how to keep these cars cool so they don't have to switch as often. You don't see that kind of technology in these cars, so they may have to do that switching a lot more frequently than we've been seeing.
2 drivers back here in this series. You see Sam Hornish there in the 3rd spot, Elliott Sadler in the 5th spot in that white car, looking to make their mark back here in this series.
Lap number 3, and we've had 3 different leaders. It's a 120-lap race. This could be a lot of fun today.
It's like musical chairs, and Elliott Sadler was left without a seat.
It's Stewart now, Marola. Sam Hornish Jr. is hooked up with Joe Nemechek. They're running 3rd and 4th. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, then Sadler. He is behind Casey Kane. Dale Jr. trying to lock up again with the 33 of Boyer. That's Justin Allgaier to the left in the 31.
Yeah, and he just took that split second. These 2 cars were out front just a minute ago, but Junior had to get a little bit of fresh air to his radiator. When they did that, they lost about 10 spots.
Boy, that was oh so close. Jason Leffler, you saw him wiggle there. Here we go again with another lead change. 4 laps, 4 different leaders. Kyle Busch, now the man up front.
You see Casey Kane now working the outside.
Tony Stewart down low. They're going to make it 3 wide again. You're on board with Tony. Joe Nemechek right alongside.
You see Casey Kane has his teammate. Jason Leffler's tucked right up behind him. Here comes Junior.
Joe Nemechek there in the middle with no help whatsoever. Tony Stewart doesn't have much. He's looking for Clint Boyer to get on his bumper.
You saw the 12 of Sam Hornish. He lost his dance partner as well. Change for the lead up front. They got to make the switch again. Logano goes in front.
That was textbook right there, how they made that switch without losing a lot of time.
Yeah, but look what happens. Here comes the freight train on the outside. Casey Kane, can he get to the stripe? He will not get to the lead. Joey Logano will lead this lap. 4 lead changes in 4 laps. You see Dale Jr. now. He has worked his way back up into that 3rd position.
Well, you see
coming up the middle. Here we go.
Against the wall.
Tony Stewart. He and Clint Boyer have hooked up, and look out. The 51 forces Stewart to check up. That was Jeremy Clements that was right in front of him there, and here we are again, 3 and 4 wide.
Danica doing a great job staying up in this lead group. See her right behind Jeremy Clements.
On the high side, you see the 3 cars there. That's Casey Kane right in that mix, along with Landon Castle, and then the 22 of Brad Keselowski. Still up front, it's Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, Stewart, and Boyer. That's your top 4, and that's the first lap where we haven't had a lead change.
Yeah, I was going to say, first time somebody's led 2 laps in a row.
Sorry to disappoint you. Well, we were wondering how long they could do these 2-car tandems, and we're finding out they're starting early. Now you can see the 6 car. That is Ricky Stenhouse. He's trying to get help from Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, and Reed Sorensen back in that pack. He had to start at the back of the pack and is already working his way up towards the front.
Yeah, they had unapproved adjustments, something to do with the radiator hose connection that they needed to change, and so he started at the back of the pack and is working his way back. Here comes another rush towards the stripe. It is still Joey Logano with Kyle Busch right behind him, but Tony Stewart has closed.
Now you see how Kyle Busch is offsetting his nose just a little bit. Here comes Tony Stewart now making a move.
They're going to go down to the inside now, and all of a sudden here comes the change for the 18.
Yeah,
and they're going to get blown by.
Yeah, that change is going to cost them. Clint Boyer's last stone to Tony Stewart right there.
Wow. Can they keep this up for 120 laps?
Yeah, you see Clint Boyer doing that offset move. It's not quite as fast as if they were tucked in just in line, but they can keep that radiator cool and stay that way for just a little bit longer.
And yeah, I think what we're seeing here is just what you pointed out before this race, the experience factor here. These drivers have done more of this throughout the week, and they know exactly how to make this work.
You want to know the speeds we're flying, folks? 196 miles an hour so far, the top speed.
That's after they've reduced the restrictor plates, tapered spacers 3 or 4 times this week, trying to control these high speeds.
Look at this now, a 4-car hookup.
Be careful.
The guys in the middle have got to be wondering, what do I do now?
Yeah, this really hasn't worked that well, and the drivers tell me they can't see very well, and the cars get extremely loose in that situation in the middle.
Let me update 2 cars already off. Kelly Byers, Kevin LePage have taken it behind the wall. Our first 2 starting parks. That 4-car has now gone back to 2.
Yeah, and you can see what happened there as Kyle Busch got up there. He lost his partner, Joey Logano, for just a split second, and then Kyle wasn't able to hang on either. Now they're hooked back together. They'll run these 2 back down.
Now they have got about a second lead over the groups that are behind them.
I think Clint Boyer has been tucked behind Tony Stewart the whole race. I don't think he's actually had any real clean air on the nose yet.
Here they go again as you're on board with Clint Boyer. Tony Stewart leading that last lap. Boyer second, but for how long?
Boy, look how tricky that is to try to stay right on the bumper, right through the corner, inches from the wall.
Do not try this in rush hour traffic on the freeway.
Yeah, I was talking to a number of the drivers, and I was asking, which is the harder place to be? The driver behind and trying to stay right on the bumper, or the driver in front? They said that the driver in front has a lot more to do. He has to really make sure that he keeps that car attached to his rear bumper, so he's working extremely hard.
Okay, Clint Boyer gets his turn up front.
Here comes Boyer now, our pole sitter, as they make the swap. And look at what happened with both those teams, those 2 tandems, making the switch. It allowed everybody to close up. Brad Keselowski's now into the mix. He's got his old teammate, Justin Allgaier, helping him. And look on the high side. Whoa, 27, a little bit of smoke. He's being black flagged by NASCAR officials, we're being told. So, unfortunately for J.R. Fitzpatrick, looks like he may have some engine problems.
Yeah, not sure if it's an oil leak or oil line loose or the engine actually blowing up, but he's going to have to bring her to pit road.
You see those guys that were a second behind just a couple of laps ago now are starting to catch back up.
I'm going to get back to these guys here. We're just going to push them. I'm not going to try to pass them.
Fine. Tell me. Your car already pushing me out a little bit?
Yeah, simple.
That's the 2 drivers communicating with each other while they're racing. That's kind of different, Dale.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, you've heard spotters on your radio a lot, but talking to other drivers and telling exactly what you're going to do here is something pretty new. Drivers have communicated, but not nearly as much as what we're hearing this week.
Look at this side-by-side action. 4 cars going down the backstretch. Who's going to have the lead going into 3? It looks like it's the Toyotas. Let's get an update on Tony Stewart. Vince.
Well, guys, you talk about the fact that the drivers are talking to one another, and of course Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart doing that, but also the spotters are communicating with multiple teams as well, listening to channels of multiple radios. Just a moment ago, Bob Jeffrey told Tony Stewart, I'm listening to the 18 as they're coming up behind you. So they are definitely multitasking on the track and up top with the spotter stand today.
Kyle pulls out and around. They're going to make the swap again. Logano falls back in behind. That's going to allow that lead group to pull away.
Yeah, and you see the Fords working together there. Stenhouse and Trevor Bain. You see Junior have a 2x2 partner with him just yet.
I tell you, Trevor Bain has really caught on to this drafting technique. He got a lot of experience the other day in the 150-mile qualifying race with Jeff Gordon. He does a terrific job being the pusher.
Great group of cars all within earshot of each other. They're the two Fords from Roush Fenway. Do you realize Roush Fenway Racing has never won a nationwide race here at Daytona? They used to own this place back in the days of GTO racing in the Rolex 24. Maybe today will be their day. Here we go again. That's Boyer down low, getting the push from Tony Stewart. Up high, it's the two Toyotas of Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle Busch in front of Joey.
Well, you're right, Dale. Trevor Bain doing a great job pushing Ricky Stenhouse right here. They've pushed him almost up to the front pack right here so he can try to take the lead. Looks like they're going to get there.
Heading down into turn number 3. The low line is going to nose out in front. And you're right. Here come the two Fords. They are creeping up on the high side right behind Joey Logano. 6 cars now. Throw a blanket over them. They come to the stripe to complete lap number 14.
One thing I see here, Dale, it looks like it's harder to block these moves when you have 2 cars running together. It has to be a coordinated block.
That's the problem. As I talk to these drivers, they're having a hard time with the second driver not being able to see all that and to try to keep him attached. You're not able to do the side drafting and make these blocks nearly as easy. So they said, now that may change when it gets down to time to win the race. They might try a little bit more, but it is more difficult, Andy, just as you said.
Well, and Dale Jr., without a dance partner, he has lost ground to this lead group. There you see Logano and Kyle Busch making the swap again. That allows the Roush Fenway Fords to move ahead into that 3rd and 4th spot. Tell you what, this is only 15 laps of 120. We've had 6 lead changes, 4 different leaders. Our race presented by GoDaddy.com. Back here under our first caution at Daytona International Speedway in the season opener in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Sam Hornish, one of multiple cars involved. Brian Scott got the worst of it as well. And they got together on the front straightaway. There's the damage on the 11.
Yeah, we saw the 12 car Hornish in the grass. Don't know how he got there. And then a lot of other cars kind of got tangled up. Landon Castle was one of them. I'm not sure that Landon got any damage from it, but he did spin through the grass.
Let's go back and take another look, guys.
Yeah, let's see what happens. They come off here. Sam Hornish right in the middle. Oh,
it looks like
Brian Scott gets turned. May have got a little too much of a bump.
Looks like it might have been Allgaier gave him a little shove.
And then here's the second contact.
Yeah, Brian Scott just tags Hornish.
You see, now we talked about that these cars, the front and rear bumpers don't line up quite as well. You have to be careful with this bump drafting that a little bit too much of that, you'll get the nose up under and really lift the rear wheels off the ground. That's exactly what happened to Brian Scott.
All right, let's go back and just listen. Like the 31 did get into him just a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't much, but as you move across that rear bumper, it just sends these cars, makes it very difficult to keep up with the steering of it.
Well, you see, Hornish looked like he was just flying up through the middle there, coming by those guys, and with that contact, getting into the trial was very tricky anyway.
Sam right now under a very limited schedule for this number 12 car this year. They're still trying to look for more money as he's trying, like several other drivers, to rejuvenate his career. And it looks like everybody is going to be coming down pit road. We're going to find our first experience with the refueling. So let's send it quickly to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And today will be sort of a test run for a lot of these crews that are going to be working tomorrow. In fact, down in the 38 pits for Casey Kane, the crew may have uniforms on that says Great Clips, but this is the crew of Jimmy Johnson, the 5-time Sprint Cup champion. Brandon Harger going across. He's the gas man. They're going to top it off with gas only, no tires. Vince
Tony Stewart's Cup crew is pitting this car today in the nationwide race. They're going to take on right side tires, a can of fuel, and then a little bit more from the second can. Jamie.
Clint Boyer took right sides only, fueled him as well. He has the Cup team pitting him as well, but it was a clean stop for Clint Boyer down and away as they continue to come off pit road. Marty?
And there you see our race off pit road. Dale Earnhardt Jr. picks up 9 positions, taking no tires, just fuel. Boyer loses a spot. I bet you Dale will have a dance partner now, as he is at the front of the field. All right, well, we're under our first caution. It has been anything but dull, and unfortunately for a couple of guys, their day is a little short. It has been anything but dull here in the first 18 laps of the scheduled 120 in the season opener of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. We've seen the 2-car tandem, and we've had our first incident that has sent a couple of guys behind the wall to repair a lot of damage. Sam Hornish, Landon Castle involved in that, and the heaviest damage to Brian Scott. Now, we've got to tell you about, there were several incidents on pit road, and one of them had to do with Dale Earnhardt Jr. We thought he just took fuel. He missed his pit box. He thought he was looking for the 88 board, and he forgot it was the number 5. Let's listen to the radio.
4, 3, 2, 1. Coming, just keep going. Keep going. And 4. It's all good. I thought I was going to see the 88 sign. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's Dale acknowledging he was looking for the 88 sign, which is his Sprint Cup number, obviously. Now, here's what happened to the 4 car.
He gets tires and also gets fuel, but he gets blocked in by the car in front of him. Kind of chokes the car, taking off. Won't take him long to get back to the front.
And while we've got the opportunity, let's give you the Goodyear track facts here at Daytona. We mentioned the fact we're going 300 miles today, pit road speed. Nobody that we know of was caught for speeding. And really, the one thing that has stood out for you,
yeah, new pavement. That's what we should have here. New pavement. That's what's creating all of these situations. I mean, a combination of this car and the new pavement has opened up these 2-car drafts. So it's made it exciting so far.
Well, yesterday you and Rusty were out there driving, and you said how hard it was to see on pit road. Could that have also played into this?
Yeah, it could have, because it is hard to see those white lines on that white concrete. So it's making it more difficult with that. And but you really have to pay attention and know where all of that is. And I'm not sure that maybe the inexperience of the crew chief didn't play a little in there, Andy.
Yeah, that driver needs some help, especially when he's driving something different. I mean, you need to say, hey, here we are, don't pass us. He was giving him the 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown to the pit stall, but he should have been getting just a little bit more help.
Hey, Rusty, I think you were the one that brought it to my attention yesterday as we were sitting out there getting ready to go, just how hard it was to see the lines on that concrete.
Yeah, no doubt. We were sitting out in our cars yesterday, DJ, and they got that real black, brand new pit road with those white lines on it. You can see the white lines on top of the black asphalt, but those white lines on top of that white concrete, man, that is very, very hard to pick out your pit stall. They probably need to paint those things yellow next time or something like that, but a big problem for the drivers, in my opinion.
They did widen this pit road, too, and I can tell you that was one glaring thing that I saw was how much wider it is, so we shouldn't see nearly as much contact on pit roads we've seen here in the past.
Well, let's listen in on the 5 car, see what Dale Earnhardt's talking about now.
Yeah, I didn't look at it on the base lap, so I didn't know what it looked like, so my bad. That's pretty stupid. For the future, we should just have the 88 out there. That's what I'm used to looking at.
Got to be careful with that, though, because Eric Almirola might stop in the wrong pit.
Well, we'll wait and see, but it's going to force Dale Earnhardt Jr. to start back in the 33rd position because he did come back down pit road, did take tires, did get a full load of fuel. Sam Hornish Jr. is back behind the wall, 1 lap down. Also, Brian Scott is off the track. J.R. Fitzpatrick with his engine issues. Kevin LePage is back out. He's 11 laps down. Kelly Byers is off as well. It's Boyer, Logano, Stenhouse, Bain, and Kane. That's your top 5. And Boyer has taken the inside line, and we're back to green here at Daytona. take a look. You got new dance partners out there. Danica Patrick also getting her car going well, but you've got up front Logano with Trevor Bayne.
Dale and I was in there laughing, and I know what you're laughing about, Dale. You're talking about Keselowski pushing Kyle Busch.
Yeah, two unlikely suspect drafting partners there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's amazing.
You got Danica Patrick now just moved in front of Boyer. Maybe he can get up there and push her to the front.
You mentioned Kyle Busch. He won the helped Joe Gibbs Racing win the Owners' Championship. Brad Keselowski won the Drivers' Championship. They've had a few go-arounds themselves on the racetrack. We should point out, let me correct one thing. Sam is not behind the wall. They're actually still working on pit road on that 12 car. We just wanted to clear that up. Now back down the straightaway, and on the outside, here comes the push between those two unlikely dance partners.
Well, what's happening when you try to get these cars latched up, the front driver has to actually drag the brake just a little bit to get them hooked. Once they get hooked, they can go wide open, but it does take coordination from the lead car to let that other car come up and latch on, and we're seeing that now with just behind this group. Danica Patrick is not quite able to latch up with Boyer, but she's got a responsibility in that to make that work.
Dave, you got an update down there on the 18?
Well, one thing to keep in mind with Kyle is that his car is better out front. Who wouldn't like it out front? He can win that way. But the Toyotas have had a little trouble cooling this weekend. So with Keselowski pushing from behind, Kyle feels great about getting that air in the front end of that car. Remember, troubles cooling could mean that the Toyotas need to stay out front, Jamie.
And just before that first round of pit stops, Danica Patrick came on the radio. She said, guys, we have a fast car. I'm good. I just need some help out here. And as you saw, she was kind of being hung out to dry. Clint Boyer in the 33, still not trustworthy of Danica, but this is a good opportunity for her to prove herself that she is able to draft, but so far it's not working.
Battle for the lead up front as they come down to complete lap number 23, side by side. Which one of the Joe Gibbs cars is going to hold on to it? It's going to be Kyle Busch.
Andy, I'll add on to what you were talking about there. It is Danica. She has some responsibility there to get that car behind her latched onto her rear bumper. So that's something that she's going to have to learn here throughout the day.
Trouble in turn 2. Several cars around. The 62 of Michael Annett. Elliott Sadler's involved. The 09 of Kenny Wallace. Dale Jr. gets through, and look out!
Jeremy Clement gets a part of that. No, that's Mike Wallace.
That's Mike Wallace.
Right rear quarter.
So
slow down enough.
One of the guys that we thought would contend for the championship, and just likely will throughout the season, Elliott Sadler, here in our second
totaled, Ernie. I mean, really totaled.
Well, that is such a shame for Kenny. This is a great opportunity for him, and a shame for Elliott Sadler and that team. Kevin Harvick Incorporated.
Not the way they want to start this season off, I can tell you that.
Both those teams had such high hopes. Kenny said, this is the best equipment I have ever been in years. You see what's the damage on the 01 of Mike Wallace's car. That rear quarter panel's torn up.
He was just trying to kind of slow down and snake his way through there, but wasn't able to do it.
So Elliott will make the long walk to the ambulance and the ride to the infield care center to get checked out, but he looks A-OK. Michael Annett, he has got damage on his left rear quarter panel, although he is able to get it back. Let's take another look, see what happened.
Well, you can see right there, it's like Kenny Wallace got tagged. Actually, that was a net. Wallace comes in behind that.
And right there you saw Mike worried about the 62 coming back high, and he ends up getting into the tail end of it.
Yeah, that's Todd Bodine, who was trying to push Michael Annett there. You have to be really, really careful as you get to the corners. You know you want to stay latched on and attached. See Tony Stewart barely sneaking by there. Ricky Stenhouse looks like he's got a little bit of damage. I notice he's on pit road right now working on that car.
Elliott Sadler nowhere to go whatsoever.
We can tell you Michael Annett has made it back to pit road as well. So has the 01 of Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Mike just got that last part.
Here's the second impact.
See, Mike was going around the other car on the bottom, and he thought he could swing back low on this car, but he just couldn't do it.
From Clint Boyer's on board.
Outside, next car, spin behind you, come on. You're clear. Outside, caution. Nice job.
That's when you're sitting in the seat just wondering if that car is going to clip you as it comes back. You see just how close that's going to be for Clint Boyer right here. Wow.
And we've got most of the second half of the field taking advantage of this opportunity to come down pit road. Leader stayed out all the way through the top 13 cars. And Kyle Busch, we can tell you, is shown as our race leader, with Brad Keselowski second, Joey Logano third, Trevor Bayne fourth, and Todd Bodine in fifth. There you see Carl Edwards, as he has yet to find his way up towards the front of this field. Reed Sorensen still trying to battle back from where he had to start.
Well, you see a lot of people changing tires. Jeremy Clements gets going. A lot of them are changing because of all the debris on the track. A lot of them probably ran through that, want to make sure they don't have a hole.
Gives us an opportunity to step aside because we're going to be under the caution for a little bit to clean up the mess here at Daytona. Our race is presented today by GoDaddy.com.
ESPN, the home court of college hoops, continues today. First at 4 Eastern, Reggie Jackson and Boston College face a rejuvenated number 19 Tar Heels team led by Tyler Zeller.
I like how you say that.
I was just giving you an opportunity. Then at 6 Eastern, Isaiah Thomas and the Washington Huskies face a key contest against the ranked Pac-10 foe. They take on number 13 Arizona, led by Derek Williams. It's college basketball. ESPN today. Both games available online at ESPN3.com and on your phone. From the pit studio, Alan, Rusty, and Brad, 27 laps into the 120 that make up today's NASCAR Nationwide Series race, cleaning up a big mess down in turn number 2 as they tow away the cars of Elliott Sadler and some of those others damaged in the wreck. You see we're on the double up and 1 to go before the restart. Carl Edwards with problems, reporting earlier, engine troubles. He's been on pit road a couple of times with the hood up under this yellow, Jamie.
Alan, yes, he said he was down a cylinder. It didn't sound right. They came in, they checked the plug wires. Then they exchanged ignition boxes. Then he pulled away and said it still sounds bad. You see him there. That's his onboard camera. Taking it back to the garage, he said, guys, I think we're blowing up. And for more on what is going on with Carl Edwards, let's go to the Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jamie. The first thing they do when they come down pit road is open a hood. They're trying to identify which cylinder it is. How do you do that? You can take an infrared sensor and monitor each exhaust tube, or you can take a piece of crayon and touch on it. The one that's not working is not going to melt the crayon. But there again, these engines turn a lot of RPMs. They might be looking, if it's not a plug wire, might be a broken valve spring. It'll change the sound of the engine. Guys?
Tim, thanks for that look as we look down on Daytona International Speedway, courtesy of Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Everything we've learned making tires for one of racing's most grueling proving grounds inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. Intense, interesting so far, and coming to a restart. What will be at the completion of the 28th lap. You see on the inside lane, Kyle Busch with now Brad Keselowski, 22 to the outside of him. Joey Logano and the 16 car of Trevor Bayne lined up in row number 2. This wrapping up the second caution of this race as we go up to Marty, DJ, and Andy.
Thank you, Alan. 32 cars on the lead lap, a total of 8 either off or out of this race right now. Sam Hornish Jr. got the lucky dog. He's still, though, 3 laps down. It's Kyle Busch, as Alan pointed out, on the inside. Brad Keselowski right beside him. He's got his dance partner right behind him in Joey Logano in third. So Kyle Busch comes to the stripe, and we're back to green flag racing here on lap number 29. Down the backstretch, the 4-car attack right now in third and fourth is Brad Keselowski with Trevor Bayne giving him a push. Look a little bit further back, you saw Danica Patrick. She's running in sixth with Clint Boyer.
We've seen these partnerships kind of shift around and change on these restarts. Now it looks like Boyer really is latched on good with Danica. They should be able to go to the front if they can stay like this.
Well, she's going to get a lesson, that's for sure. Here comes Tony Stewart also in that mix. That's Eric Almirola trying to hook up with him.
Yeah, but she did a much better job there in getting that 33 car on her bumper now. They've cleared that pack. Going to try to run down these leaders.
Clint Boyer's a good one for her to have back there. He's got a lot of experience on how to do this.
Do you in the 33?
Spotter telling him it's just you two right now. And they are closing. Here they come on the inside.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
And he is giving her the push right past Keselowski and Bain.
Oh yeah, they're going to get to the lead here.
Kyle Busch still up front. The question is, for how long? You can see the differential and how quickly they are closing. Will we have our 6th different leader this time by? It's going to be close, but it looks like Kyle may.
No,
Danica Patrick is going to lead.
Keep it in the middle right here.
Remember, she led 4 laps back at Homestead, so now she's led 2 races in a row. The question is, what kind of finish is she going to get today here at Daytona?
Now, we're talking about would people draft with these younger, inexperienced drivers. If you've got a car like Danica's got today, they'll run with you, I promise.
You see the stack there? First woman to lead a lap here at Daytona in a NASCAR sanctioned event. But here come on the bottom side, Brad Keselowski and Trevor Bain saying, yo, we'd like that position back, please. Here we go with another lead change at the stripe. Brad Keselowski, it'll be our 12th lead change in 31 laps. Those 4 still side by side, and they have opened up ground over Logano and Kyle Busch. About a full second. There you see the gap back to them.
Running laps of 46 seconds around here. They're flying.
If you want to know what the track record for lead changes is, 35, set back in 1986. We've had 12 already in 31.
I'd say we ought to have that done by about lap 60.
This is great stuff. These two, and she is getting an education rapidly here.
Yeah, they're averaging 194, 195 miles an hour on these laps. That's 15 miles an hour faster than they qualify.
Yeah, and the good thing here is that these Kevin Harvick cars are able to stay tucked in. Clint Bowyer's getting just enough air to it that he can stay behind Danica and keep pushing where they don't have to make this switch.
There's Boyer trying to get more air on his front. He's got to make the switch here soon. They've been going several laps. Here it comes.
Okay, the key's going to be, can she get in there and get latched on to Clint?
They got the perfect situation when they have this 4-car group actually in front of them, busting a little bit of that air while they make the swap.
But they're losing a lot of ground.
A lot of time.
Yeah, they got to get this done a little quicker. And she's got to help. She's got to slack off just a little bit and get behind him.
In fact, they never...
He wants me to get behind him and push. I can try that, and you just tell me what I need to do with him, because I don't know. I'm just keeping it flat.
So she's trying to find out, does he want her to push? And
let him get to you here.
Now, Clint can't just sit back there and run, a lot of laps. He's got to get air to the front of that car.
Yeah, they lost about 2 seconds to those lead cars just on that lap in trying to make that switch.
Yeah, and you can see even the Joe Gibbs cars with Logano and Busch, they're losing a lot of time when they're making that switch too, but they get latched on pretty quickly and gain it back.
And now the tandem of Brad Keselowski and Kyle Busch have opened up some space over 3rd and 4th place.
I'll tell you what, guys, today and tomorrow, if I'm looking for a partner, I want Trevor Bain on my bumper. This young man knows how to get it done. He's doing a terrific job. I think it's going to pay big dividends, maybe for him getting himself in a position to pull out and win either today or tomorrow.
We're still under green and getting word. Yes, the 66 of Stephen Wallace is making his way to pit road. This is unscheduled. He's the first pit box in.
May have a tire down.
It really looked like that right front was down on the ground, possibly.
Our over-the-wall man, Mark Hollywood Armstrong, giving us the bird's eye view there as he's the front tire changer for that team. Meanwhile, on the left side of your screen, you can see the
They're all clear.
4 cars that are running 1st through 4th. No change up there.
Speed, 4,400 to the cone.
So Steven's going to get back out, but he is going to go a lap down.
Here come the Gibbs cars on the outside again.
On the high side, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano. They are going to push their way back to the lead through turns 1 and 2. Keselowski and Trevor Bain doing all they can to hold them off. Side by side down the backstretch, inching ahead, the Joe Gibbs duo.
You can see where that experience is really paying off at the front. These cars have distanced themselves quite a bit from the pack. And we saw Danica was able to run all the way to the lead, but you got to coordinate those switches to be able to stay up there.
Yeah, and she lost her partner with Clint Boyer, and she's dropped back to the 9th position. Boyer's dropped all the way back to 18th.
The next car in line behind Danica now is Dale Jr. Maybe they can hook up and get back to the front.
Now look at this mix-up here as all of a sudden both of them were trying to make the change at the same time. Got a little dicey, but they sorted it out. Trevor Bayne in front of Keselowski, and here comes Joey.
They got to be having a ton of fun out there, Dale.
Oh, these guys say it's fun and trying to coordinate and make all of this happen. But they do tell me it is a lot of work to really coordinate that and keep it working in the proper way.
Dale Jr. passing his teammate, Danica Patrick. Will they try and hook up?
Well, we heard Dale Jr. say in the pre-race show that it's all about number one. He's the one to go to the front.
They're 7th and 8th, and well, now 7th and 9th, and Jr. has got Joe Nemechek coming up behind him. Looks like they're going to hook up. Slower traffic. That's the 14, Eric McClure, as he has put a lap down by the race leaders. And these 4 cars still going after each other, lap after lap. We've had 15 lead changes now in 37 laps.
That's at the start-finish line.
Yeah. The one thing that we're not seeing that we've seen a lot down here in the past is the side drafting, and they're just not able to do that as they run in these tandems as much because it's harder for that second guy to see exactly what they need to do, and it can create problems for them. So they're just utilizing the sheer speed that they have by staying locked onto each other.
The 40 of Scott Wimmer was the slow car on the low side of the track. If you get stranded out by yourself, you are in deep trouble. While we continue to watch all this action, Dr. Jerry Punch is caught up with a disappointed Elliott Sadler.
Elliott out of the medical center. Okay, Elliott, from your vantage point, what happened out there?
I'm not real sure. I was, we were trying to tandem and make our way to the front. And I just found my teammate, Clint Boyer, and was going to get in line with him. And I looked up, and the 62 was sideways. So not sure. And with the smoke and not sure how far I could move up, I was kind of hoping he was going to slide to the racetrack, and he didn't. And we just tore up a good race car. And it's a shame. We wanted to try to make it to the end, and we tried to put ourselves in a good situation and race around the people we wanted to race with, and it just wasn't meant to be. But got a lot of people here with KHI today, a lot of people here from One Main Financial. We're going to go try to fix the car because 1 point is very important these days, so we're going to try to get back out there.
Not a way that he wants to start a championship chase. Marty?
Absolutely, Doc. As you see Trevor Bayne and Brad Keselowski, they've opened up about a second lead over the Joe Gibbs pair. And we are now, after 39 of 120 laps, here at our race presented by GoDaddy.com. Welcome back to the Drive for COPD 300 at Daytona. And make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. That shot you saw, there they are, the top 4 runners. It's Keselowski, Bayne, followed by Busch and Logano. A little bit further back, in fact, about 11 more seconds back, is Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer. They have hooked up, and they are coming. But this is the biggest margin that a breakaway group, if we can call it that, the first 4 have given themselves. And you notice at the bottom of the bottom of your screen there is the 60 of Carl Edwards. He has just come back out on track. He is 12 laps down. Dave, what's the story?
Marty, they changed everything electrical on that 60 car. Talked to the tuner, Troy Couples, and he told me they took it all out, put it back in. When it left, though, it didn't sound that great, and a lot of people were still shaking their heads in that Roush Fenway camp.
Well, you saw him get passed by the quartet that is the front runners of this field, and you can see his last lap compared to the leaders. Brad Keselowski now in front of Trevor Bayne. We've had 16 lead changes, and a lot further back is a swarm that's they're 12 seconds behind the group on the right, and one of those guys that's been coming, in fact 2 of them, have been Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer. There they are. Let's get an update on the 4 car. Vince Welch.
Well, Tony Stewart's had one of those up and down days. He was running up front, led the race early on. Then they came for that initial pit stop, and he stalled the car in the pit, so he lost several positions and has had to come from deep in the field again. But once Clint Boyer hooked up with him. The two have really been on the move, making their way back toward the front. Stewart also had a close call earlier, made a little contact with the car trying to draft. Thought maybe he might have punched a hole in the front end, but the team says that all looks good at this point. He and Clint, a couple of KHI cars hooked together.
Still 12 seconds behind the quartet that is out front. Maybe we should change this. Maybe this should be like the pair skating championships where it'd be Keselowski, Bain in first, and then you've got Logano and Busch in third. Because there's no breathing room between the bumpers on these cars. And on the left side, you can see that Stewart and Bowyer have pulled away from the rest of that group. They've pulled 3 seconds ahead of Sorensen, Earnhardt, Leffler, Nemechek, Clements, Howard, and Patrick.
Yeah, it looks like Stewart and Bowyer are able to run comparable lap times to these front four, but they've lost so much ground already.
Let you know that while this goes on, the 31 has come into pit road. There it is, Justin Allgaier in the brand new Brandt colors. He's got damage on the right side as well from earlier. Here we go.
Oop, there goes the right front.
And even more damage.
We got in the wall, guys. You okay?
Meanwhile, up front, it is Keselowski in front of Trevor Bayne. And then you saw the tandem of Kyle Busch and Joey Logano making the swap once again. We are now, after working lap 48 of 120 on our race presented by GoDaddy.com, and the racing's been that close. Tomorrow, ESPN and the Year of the Quarterback chronicles the incredible career of Conrad Holloway, the first African-American to ever start a quarterback in the SEC. ESPN's Year of the Quarterback presents The Color Orange, Conrad Holloway's story, a film by Kenny Chesney and Sean Silvitz, tomorrow night, 8 on ESPN. While all this action continues, Brad Keselowski, Trevor Bayne, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, they have fallen 2 seconds behind that lead group. Let's listen to Kyle's radio.
Hey, Joe, when we switch, drag the brake a little bit just to start your slowdown, you know? Because these cars, when you pull out, you just run into a brick of air.
These cars help quicker.
Yeah, like if you slow down just a little bit faster, then we can get aligned quicker. Like when you pull off of me, I use a little bit of brake to slow down to get you in front of me faster, and then you use the brake and come back to me. Going low.
That is a lesson in two-car tandem drafting, courtesy of Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. The only problem is Joey can't push Kyle as long as Kyle can push Joey, because Joey gets more temperature. And then when he's in front and Kyle pushes him, Joey says, I get a little too free entering the corner. But they're trying to perfect working together and making the change even quicker.
All right, thank you, Doc. It's Bayne and Keselowski, 1.3 seconds ahead of Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. Then another 13 seconds back to Clint Bowyer and Tony Stewart. Then it drops even further back, 23 seconds behind the lead. Dale Earnhardt in 7th with Joe Nemechek, his dance partner. Then Waltrip and Clements round out the top 10.
Watching some lap times here, though, it does look like Bowyer and Stewart are able to pick up a little bit on the leaders. Running just a little bit quicker lap times on average the last few laps.
Well, we've completed 53 laps and had 8 different leaders with 17 lead changes. And I guess my question for you guys is, we saw everybody able to stay close early, and now as this run is it the tire? Is the tire finally going away?
No, it's this experience level of these drivers that are doing this. These two groups are doing it way better than any other two tandems in this group, in this field, except for maybe now Tony Stewart and Clint Bowyer. And I think that's what we talked about earlier, is that experience level really paying off for the Cup guys.
Yes, not only paying off there, but, you know, as you go by, you talked about this group that Dale Jr. and that group, they've got 6 or 7 cars in their line, but they're doing the old drafting style where they're not tucked up right on each other's bumper, so it's making it more difficult, and they can't run nearly as fast.
You said we're going to switch before we pit. How are we doing now?
Because of where we're at on the pit road, we're going to catch about 5 more lap cars, and when we pass them, we're going to switch. And then we'll do our pit deal, because you're ahead of him on pit road.
See, now that's somebody thinking ahead.
Oh, yeah, they got to be planning all of these moves. They're planning every move on the track, and as they pit.
Next time by, Trevor is asking where to brake at, so be aware he may be a little cautiously optimistic here.
That's what I was going to say. As they start to make that pit stop, they've got to be careful getting on those brakes not to wreck each other.
Going around the 40 once again. as Scott Wimmer's had a very long day.
This could separate some of the cars. We got a spinner.
Sam Hornish going around again. That's right into pit in, and he's going to bang the wall with the left front. So Hornish, who was running 33rd at the time, 3 laps down, brings out our third caution of the day, and there's the damage.
Don't know how close these guys were on fuel, but they'll have to be really careful right here as we go lap.
We just heard that the lead group is getting ready to make a pit stop right then on that lap, so they'll have to make at least another lap under caution before they come down pit road.
Let's go back and take another look, see what happened to Sam. The first crash wasn't his fault. See what happened this time.
Well, looks like Todd Bodine got another one there.
At this point, it looked like he might be able to save it until right
there.
Yeah. Give you another angle.
It's like Todd hadn't quite perfected that push move yet.
As we talk, these bumpers don't exactly line up, and you can actually get your nose underneath the rear bumper and lift the rear wheels off the ground.
That ended a 28-lap green stretch. That had been the longest stretch of green flag racing that we had seen.
It's an opportunity now for these other cars to close up, and hopefully they've all perfected their little tandem drafting technique, and they can keep up with these leaders.
So, as several drivers have experienced, Sam Hornish having a tough day today. And not much of it really his making.
No, that one was not his fault at all. That definitely got a push from behind.
See the guys on pit road stretching, limbering up. And I think we'll see some tire changing here.
Yeah, I think we will too, Marty, because even though they probably could run tire wear wise and probably handling wise on the set they have, it makes sense now under caution to go ahead and get some tires on the car.
2 or 4. Do you want track
Probably
position?
at this point I'd make the call for 4 tires as a crew chief, because you're going to have to get a full tank of fuel. This is a good opportunity to go ahead and swap them out.
We'll wait to see how it all changes here on pit road. As again, remember the closed-end fueling system. We'll see how well that works. Let's send it down to Dr. Jerry Bunch.
Thank you very much, Marty. They're expecting 4 tires for Joey Logano. First time they'll have 4 tires all day long, maybe then 2 the next time, maybe none on the final stop. Also a chassis adjustment for Joey Logano. Triple pits. Let's start with Dave.
Kyle Busch's team, listen to Andy Petrie. They'll change 4 tires now. They will have options later, according to the crew chief. Vince.
Brad Keselowski, last year's series champ, 2 tires and gas, says it's a lot harder than it looks out there. He's working hard. Jamie?
Birthday boy Trevor Bayne turns 20 today. They said, how you enjoying it? He said, I love it out here leading. He led 10 laps. Left side tires is the call. They said it's going to take longer to fill these cars. Just remember, wait for the jack. He filled it up with Sunoco fuel. He's down and away. Keselowski is first out of the box. Marty?
The race off pit road. Keselowski picks up 1. Junior picks up 5. He was in the right pit box this time. Trevor lost 4. Getting ready to go green. 2 quick updates. The 5 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. They had equipment. The fuel can got stuck. Just what we were talking about. It fell outside the box. He'll start back in 20th. And the 22 didn't get enough fuel in. Had to come all the way back around, make a second stop, mix up on communication for Brad Keselowski. He's going to restart in 7th. Up front, it's Logano, Busch, Bayne, Boyer, and Nemechek. And we're green again.
Yeah, and we're going to have a penalty on somebody because the 7, the 70, and the 38 were 3 wide at the start of this race. They didn't get in line, so I don't know whose fault it is. NASCAR will sort that out.
It looked like they were arguing over starting position there because they were that way all the way around off turn 4.
On board with Clint Boyer.
Now you see the Gibbs cars have kind of got split up here.
3 wide into 3. A couple of those cars don't have any partners. And up front, here we go again as you see 4 cars trying to pull away from the pack. Just got a little change in who's playing in that mix as Clint Boyer is the man who is pushing Kyle Busch. Trevor Bayne is the guy right behind Joey Logano. Left side of your screen, you can see Tony Stewart trying to work his way up. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is going to get shuffled.
Yeah, he's got nobody pushing him whatsoever. You can see just how big a difference that makes.
Whoa, 4 wide at some points in the back of this pack. Look out, guys and gals. It's Danica Patrick on the lower right of your screen. She's looking for another dance partner. And 2 cars behind her is her team owner, Dale Earnhardt Jr., trying to come back from that penalty.
There's Joe Nemechek on her bumper. Needs to get up and give her a little bit more of a push.
See Landon Castle back out there. He is trying to hook up as well. DJ, you were asking about if anybody was going to get hammered with a penalty for passing too soon on the restart. The 38 of Casey Kane.
See these front 4 continue to run side by side. They haven't been able to get away. Nobody's been able to get an advantage here.
All this is going on. We'll let you know the 40 of Scott Wimmer has taken it behind the wall.
They're going to have some company here in just a second, though.
It's like Stewart's pushing Leffler.
Yeah, Jason Leffler and Tony Stewart coming in a hurry.
Great view from high above.
See, they're right there. When you're talking about, they were trying to get that side draft, but it's so hard to coordinate with 4 cars.
Did you notice Tony backed off? I don't know. Maybe.
I think he saw a little bit of action getting ready to happen.
They were closing too fast.
Tony knows you got to get to the finish to win this thing.
And was that only because they were in the corner and you're looking out the left window, really? Because you really can't see when you're straight behind that car.
No, and any sign that you see of just a little bit of smoke or just anything that gives you that inclination that something may be taking place, you have to back out right then, because that's what the drivers are telling me. It's just almost impossible to see anything as you're latched on.
Well, the lead pack right now is 6 cars. Tony has hooked up again with Leffler, and they're trying to fight their way through those groups that are in front of them. Further back, a total of 4 seconds, is where we find Clemens, Sorensen, Patrick, Bliss, and Almirola.
See Leffler flirting with that wall. He's way up on the outside.
There you can see the gap, and here's what's happening behind the top 6. There's Stephen Wallace. He's trying to get help from Landon Castle. On board with Dale Jr., and Jr.'s getting shuffled. He's going to go to the outside. And that's Keselowski right beside him. Casey Kane is getting a black flag, and he has not served his penalty. Now he is coming in.
They were going to put the black flag with the white cross on him that time.
Now let's watch this again, DJ.
Yeah, and see, they were lined up this way. As Andy pointed out, this was back in turn 3. They just were having an argument over who was going to start where. Didn't get that settled, and you can't do that.
Let's go back to the battle for the race lead. Joey Logano has it with Trevor Bayne pushing. There is Kyle Busch and Clint Boyer, 3rd and 4th, but maybe not for long. Here they come on the top side. We've passed halfway of this 120-lap, 300-mile race. We've had 18 lead changes, 8 different leaders.
See, behind this group, Danica Patrick is now kind of broken away from it at the head of it, and she needs somebody to draft with.
Tony Stewart still trying to find an opening.
Well, he's going to make one here in a second.
Now there is what you were talking about, Andy, and it looks like Reed Sorensen may be the one to say, okay, let's give this a try.
Yeah, she actually broke free of this group by 7 or 8 car lengths. And by being by herself, obviously she couldn't maintain that pace.
Yeah, and right now she needs to just back up a little. I know it's hard as a race driver to realize that you need to either apply a little bit of brake or come out of the throttle a little bit, but get that 32 attached. They could really break away from this and start going towards the leaders.
Now look at this. You got Boyer and Stewart now right behind Leffler and Trevor Bayne. All this action continuing. The left side of your screen, you see those 3 cars. And here are the battle for the race leaders up front. We have 65 laps in the books here at Daytona. Our race presented by GoDaddy.com.
to green, past halfway at Daytona. A reminder that ESPN, the home court of college hoops, continues today at 4 Eastern. Reggie Jackson and Boston College face the number 19 North Carolina Tar Heels, led by Tyler Zeller. Then at 6 Eastern, Isaiah Thomas and the Washington Huskies face a key contest against a ranked Pac-10 foe. They take on number 13 Arizona, led by Derek Williams. It's college basketball on ESPN today. Both games also available online at ESPN3.com and on your phone. A little past the 150-mile mark at Daytona International Speedway in today's NASCAR Nationwide Series season opener. From the pit studio, Alan with Rusty and Brad, watching the two-car tango play out here today on the newly repaved Daytona International Speedway surface. Drivers figuring out that two-car draft is going to be what separates them from the pack. And you're looking at the two twosomes that have separated themselves from fifth place by 6.5 seconds.
2 by 2, that's all I remember all day long about this race. I've never seen any racing like this. Like it or not, we got it here, and they're running awful fast doing it this way. You got to have a teammate. There's no doubt about that. It's not a whole lot about the car right now. It's all about who you can hang out with and trust.
Yeah, and the real racing's going on from like 12th back through 25th. That's where the guys are really trying to figure out how they're going to go forward. The cats out front, Logano, Busch, Boyer, and Stewart, they're just kind of checking out on everyone and getting ready to sort it out amongst themselves. We've only got 48 laps to go.
All right, Trevor Bayne, we saw running among the lead foursome for a lot of the first half of this race. Now he's all the way back in 24th place, a lap down. That is his Roush Fenway teammate, Carl Edwards, who spent time behind the wall, who's come up to try and help push Trevor back up toward the free pass position. Meanwhile, fight for the lead there on the right as Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, 33 and 4. Work on the Gibbs guys, Logano and Kyle Busch in 20 and 18. So the personal fight for the lead up front there between these two groups continues to put some distance on the rest of the field. Logano gets that lap. So Bayne with the flat tire a minute ago, remember, again dropped him a lap down. Carl Edwards spent 12 laps behind the wall, so he's now trying to help push Trevor up about 5 more spots on the racetrack to see if he can get in position to get the free pass at the next caution. That swap you're seeing right now between teammates Joey Logano in 20 and Kyle Busch in 18, it's all about communication. Listen.
Hey, look who's back. Love you. I like you too. We're going to the outside. I'll let you switch. Yeah, stay behind him. Switch into 1. Not really. You got to check up a little bit here.
And as Tony Stewart comes pushing by for the lead. Remember, after that last restart, Logano and Kyle Busch were separated by the double up on the restart when they got back together in the draft. That's obviously
having a little bit of fun.
They were celebrating.
Nice little Saturday afternoon ride.
All right, now car off the pace, back straightaway. Michael Annett, remember, involved in a crash earlier as the race for the lead. 2 by 2. Not necessarily the Daytona draft we've been used to seeing, but still double wide for the lead. Heads off to 3. We head upstairs to Marty Reed, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie.
And thank you so much, Alan, as we go back on board with Clint Boyer. The tough break for Trevor Bayne, but right now he's trying to get help from his Roush Fenway Racing teammate, Carl Edwards. We'll keep you posted as they try and push their way back. He's still in 24th position. He's got to pick up quite a few spots to get into that lucky dog position. These guys are now side by side and slowly but surely trying to open up a bit of a more gap. They're 5 seconds now ahead of Landon Castle and Brad Keselowski. They have teamed up. Castle restarted 31st. Remember, he was involved in one of the incidents earlier in the race.
Yeah, but he was a beneficiary of the little mishap we had with the 22 when he didn't get it full of fuel, so he had to start back in the pack. You've got a really fast car. He was up front. He was one of the lead tangos earlier, so he's got a good drafting partner, Landon Castle does, with Brad Keselowski.
Then right behind them is Reed Sorensen and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And then rounding out the top 10, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Danica Patrick.
Switching. 3 wide.
You heard him say switching? And boy, I think those two have made the switch faster, cleaner, more consistently than anybody else.
Well, they've made it more times, too. It looks like they can't run quite as many laps without switching, so they've had a lot of practice of doing it today.
But look, I mean, we've seen earlier where guys would lose 10, 12 car lengths. They're still right there.
Yeah, synchronized racing we've gone through here, but they're getting it done.
As long as they're not doing the backstroke, because right now the front stroke is all with Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer as they're ahead of Logano and Kyle Busch with 44 to go.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series 300-mile season opener at Daytona. Coverage presented by GoDaddy.com. Coming your way on a beautiful Florida Saturday. Our aerial coverage presented by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Everything we've learned making tires for one of racing's most grueling proving grounds inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. The two-car tag teams for the race lead. Clint Boyer, 33, Tony Stewart, 4, and the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates, Joey Logano, 20, and Kyle Busch, 18. Stewart on his radio with his spotter a short while ago.
Hey, you got to have a girl take to the prom today. Do what? Need a girl to take to the prom today for the dance. Yeah, I got one. I got this big blonde-haired chick in front of me.
Blonde-haired chick referring to Clint Boyer, the driver of that 33 car. And seeing another twosome begin to draw in on this race for the lead.
Take a look at Landon Castle and Brad Keselowski. They're really starting to run this group down. The rest of these guys keep swapping back and forth, trying to cool these engines off. And Keselowski and Castle are hooked up pretty good right now.
Yeah, they really are. And don't look too far back. We've got the 99 car, Michael Waltrip. He's made his way up into the top 10. He's also getting ready to work his way up towards these 6 cars and see if he can mix it up a little bit. We know he's good.
As we head back upstairs to Marty, DJ, and Andy, remember that at lap 15, Landon Castle in that red 1 car was spinning through the tri-oval grass. Now he's pushing his way toward the lead of this race, guys.
Yeah, he was 31st after that incident, Alan. And, boy, right now, there he is in that 5th spot.
Swap.
And they're going to make the swap.
That's the first time that's happened with these two. They have run this group down by Brad Keselowski staying behind, getting just enough air to keep his car from running hot, but that got him caught up to the leaders.
Well, Landon did a good job of making the swap, but boy, look how smooth and quick the 18 and the 20 make that exchange.
It's been pretty methodical with Landon Castle and Brad Keselowski here doing that. They were about 3 to 4 tenths of a second faster on average by not swapping.
Let's get more on Landon Castle, Dave.
And that's just a little bit of an experience on his part. Remember, he has a fast race car. That's his biggest asset. They got the grass off of the grill after that spin earlier. No other damage. Crew Chief Dick Harrison told me they just had a conversation with the 22 crew. They plan to be on pit road for the final time on lap 97.
All right, thanks, Dave. As you saw that 4 cars that they went around, putting them a lap down. Casey Kane's in that group. Trevor Bayne still trying to fight his way out of that mix, get back on the lead lap. And meanwhile, the front 4 going after each other again. Castle and Keselowski sort of lost each other.
Yeah, that just shows just what Andy talked about earlier in the show was the experience factor. And whenever they made that swap, they have lost probably a second and a half, 2 seconds to these leaders now.
Crossing the stripe, we've now completed 85 laps. We've had 25 lead changes. The record here at Daytona is 35. Top of the hour. Glad that if you're just tuning in, you have missed an awful lot. Race leader right now is Clint Boyer, but you need a dance partner. As you've got Brad Keselowski with the fastest lap. Danica Patrick dropping back now to 13th. She was running up front for quite a while. Joey Logano, Kyle Busch up front, I should say right now. Back in 3rd and 4th, it is Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer with Brad Keselowski and Landon Castle dropping a little bit further back. They're 2 seconds behind the lead group. We have a total of 9 cars either off or out of this race. And as far as lead cars on the lead lap, 17. Bobby Santos, the 3rd, is the last car on the lead lap right now in 17th position. Mike Bliss is in the lucky dog spot. That gets you caught up, and stay with us because we've had 26 lead changes between 8 different drivers, and the record is 35. And here we go again. High side, the 4, Tony Stewart. Remember, he has won here 3 years in a row, 5 of the last 6. And his blonde-headed prom date pushing him right behind. He made that comment over the radio right before we came to the top of the hour. And boy, they're opening up some space.
Yeah, you can see the 22 and the 1 car back there with Keselowski and Castle. It looks like Keselowski's a better pusher than Landon is in that 1 car, and they've switched back again. We'll see if they can't now run them back down.
Let's go back a little deeper in the field. Running 16th and 17th is Danica Patrick and Bobby Santos. Third, great story on both of these cars, especially Bobby Santos. Let's talk about that 52. How about it, Vince?
What a great story it's been for Bobby Santos, Tommy Baldwin development driver running for Jimmy Means this weekend. Crashed early in the weekend, did not have a backup car. Dale Jr., strong relationship with Jimmy Means, said, we'll give him a car to run. So they rolled Eric Almirola's backup out for Santos. And he said, don't just get it in and park it. Get it in and race it. And Santos has been doing just that. I think Dale Jr. is a racer, but Santos showing he's quite a bit of racer too, having a good day. His first time ever racing in the Nationwide Series on a super speedway.
Santos was the 2010 Whelen Modified Series Championship, winning 4 times in 14 starts. A couple cars in front of him, Eric Almirola. He's also looking for a big year this year with Junior Motorsports. They're in the 88. You see his cycle since the restart there. These are the last 3 cars on the lead lap, Almirola, Patrick, and Santos. Joe Nemechek also having a good run right now. Front row Joe, who has the most pole positions here in Nationwide Series history with 5. He is in the 14th spot right now. And right in front of him is the 51 of Jeremy Clements. Let's get an update from pit road from Dave Burns.
And Jeremy's crew chief, Ricky Pearson, the son of the great Silver Fox, David Pearson, told me a little bit earlier that Jeremy needed a dance partner. I said, and early in the race, he had no idea who it would be. But then a little bit later, I checked with him. He said, I think Nemechek. And Joe's been running very, very fast all day, that 87 car. And so the 51 and the 87 may be buds for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, and you mentioned David Pearson. You interviewed him on Thursday during our practice. Remember that he was winner here 6 times, including the 76 Daytona 500. And I think you asked him if he wanted to go out there and do this 2-car tango. He said, no way. While those guys continue to fight their way towards the front, the cars that are up front, Tony Stewart, Clint Boyer with Landon Castle and Brad Keselowski now have pushed their way back into 3rd.
Just over 50 miles to go. Here's our 5-hour Energy Rapid Recap. It's been all about the 2-car tango today.
Oh, you got to have a partner out there, and it's only 2 cars working. And it's not 3 or 4 hooked together, just 2. Kind of a weird deal. I've never seen this before, Brad.
Yeah. Danica Patrick does a good job. Gets out early. Clint Boyer gets behind her, gives her some push. Gets in the draft with him, learns a lot, dodges this wreck early. Michael Lynette spins to the bottom. She just barely skates through. She's done a super job all day long. We saw a bad day for Elliott Sadler.
Elliott Sadler, Kenny Wallace among those caught up in that wreck. And here's Danica being pushed to the front in the draft and actually leading this race. At one point, she's back in 13th now. Carl Edwards, expected to be a contender today. Not so.
Yeah, and just having engine problems today. And, he doesn't have anything to lose either because he's not in the points champion chase. So he's just out here racing, trying to win. See him talking to Jack Roush. They're trying to figure out what in the world went wrong with his Ford.
Electrical troubles. And the front 6. There are 3 sets of 2 now up the front in this race, all within 2 seconds at the front of the pack. Boyer and Stewart, Logano and Kyle Busch, Landon Castle and Brad Keselowski. Those are the top 6. Here's the final round of pit stops. Doc?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 1 can of gas only. They're going to sit here and make sure they get it all in. The idea here is he said now it's go time, or rather show time. He wants to hook up with the draft with a 30 car and go to the front. Logano and company coming back.
'22 of Brad. Vince, let's send it down to you.
Brad Keselowski has been up front much of the day today, but he's had to go to the back looking for a partner to get back up to the front. They're going to put in 1 can of fuel for Keselowski. Dave Burns.
And you see Landon Castle pulling away as well. That's his dance partner. Fuel for Landon as well.
So those 2 make their stops. They'll hook back together. And we're waiting to see what happens with Boyer and Stewart. And we're being told there will be a speeding penalty for Todd Bodine. Too fast entering. He has not been a factor in this race as far as being up front. The men up front, Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, have yet to make their stop. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano also still out there. Then it drops from about another.
How we do it, baby.
Sound like Kyle's having fun.
The 99's in. Let's send it to Dave.
And for a while, he couldn't find anyone to draft with him. Casey Kane finally got locked together there in the 2-car draft with him, but they'll put in enough fuel for Michael to make it to the end, see if he can find another drafting partner. And last night's Truck Series winner is off of pit road trying to go for 2. Vince?
Well, it's been an emotional day for Reed Sorensen. Remember, he found out just before the race they had to change a radiator fitting, so he started at the back of the pack. But he's hooked up with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The car's been good. Jamie Little.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. started out the day great, started 10th, went to the front with his partner, but he lost Trevor Bayne. He fell back. His partner now has been Reed Sorensen. He's down and away.
The 52 is also in, and Vince, he's heading your way.
Santos Jr., we documented what an eventful weekend it's been for him. Look, you just saw him slid through his pits. These mistakes you just can't make during this course of the race when you're trying to gain positions. So they're going to make, obviously, put some fuel in it. No tire changes for Santos, but he lost time when he rolled through the pits.
On the right side, you can see that it is Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart coming down pit road.
Yeah, and Kyle Busch, as you can see there, but his teammate and dancing partner stayed on the racetrack, Joey Logano, so it may be a little bit of miscommunication there.
It could be, but it's going to be really close to making it all the way. Dave?
They've gone back and forth on which. Saw Joey Logano flash by and thought, what in the world? Dance partner gone. Kyle comes to pit road. 2 tires only. Vince.
Tony Stewart trying to win this race for the 4th straight year. Fuel only. They discussed tires, but decided to go with the fuel. He's working with Clint Boyer. Jamie.
And Clint Boyer had a clean stop. No tires, filled it up with fuel. It was smooth. Danica Patrick as well was in. No tires and fuel for the 7 car.
And of course, this year the Sunoco fuel is E15, 15% ethanol. Danica Patrick, we can tell you that she made her stop as well. And here comes the 20.
Around that guy. Okay, turn it in. Leave it on me. Right side tires.
And you're listening to Joey Logano talk to Adam Stevens on the radio. They had told Joey to come in the previous lap with teammate Kyle Busch. He didn't get on the pit road, and now right side tires, 1 can of fuel. He'll have to make it up on the racetrack.
And see if he can get back out and team up again with his best dance partner, which has been his teammate Kyle Busch. Now the 52, Bobby Santos III, too fast, exiting. So a penalty for the 52. Meanwhile, there is Clint Boyer and his new date, the 18 of Kyle Busch. Welcome back to the Drive for COPD 300 here at Daytona, and make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. We're under our 4th caution. We had debris out on the track, a nice big old hunk of metal, as you'll get a chance to see it fly off there and bounce around a little bit. And luckily, nobody ran over it that we were able to see, but they were able to get it off the track. And for the 9th time in the last 11 races here in February, the caution has fallen within the last 20 laps. We have 18 to go. We're up to 31 lead changes, and now let's go take a look at the last set of pit stops. Now, remember that Joey Logano did not pit with his teammate Kyle Busch. Well, maybe here's the reason why.
You can see Clint Boyer pitting, and so is Tony Stewart. Look at that 18 car break away off that track and get down to pit road speed. Incredible.
Saw a little smoke out of that left front, though. I'd only locked that up, and
that's right. He didn't change tires. He did not change tires. So
it's a great move to get there.
4,600.
You heard them call 4,600. That's the RPM level that they want them on, so that they don't get caught for speeding.
The way Kyle Busch drives, as long as it's got air in it, it'll be fine.
Okay,
I don't think it'll matter if it's square.
Well, we've got a moment. Let's talk about what's coming up on the rest of the weekend. And next week, we have Sports Center following us today at 4 Eastern here on ESPN2. NASCAR Now tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2, and then over on ESPN at 10 o'clock Eastern time. Our next race will be from Phoenix next Saturday at 5 Eastern on ESPN2. And the Straight Liners, the NHRA Winter Nationals, qualifying next Saturday 11 Eastern, and then the final Sunday at 7 Eastern, both of those on ESPN2.
Yeah, pit road was open the time before last, and we saw the 22 car Brad Keselowski and Dale Jr. make pit stops for fuel just to have insurance that they could make it all the way.
Well, let's get an update from what happened on both the 22 and the 5. Vince.
Well, for the second time today, they felt like they didn't get enough fuel in that 22 for Brad Keselowski, so they had to come back a second time, put another can of fuel in it. They went ahead and changed 4 tires in the process. Doc?
And for Dale Earnhardt Jr., they did get enough fuel in his car, but they thought they would be okay to the checkered flag, but they would not make it for a green-white checker. They would run out on the white flag lap if it went green-white checker, so why not come in now and top it off, which is what they did for Dale Jr.
Now, if you're wondering how much damage it does to him, it's really not as bad as it may sound, because there are only 12 cars on the lead lap. Jason Leffler got the lucky dog, making him the 12th and final car on the lead lap. Danica Patrick is 13th, 1 lap down. Now, Eric Almirola may have some problems because we saw the hood just getting put back into position. He goes back out on the track. He is 1 lap down right now in the 20th position.
I think for Dale Jr., just having that 22 car back there to draft with is a huge advantage. The way he's been able to push cars, he pushed Landon Castle all the way to the lead earlier.
Yeah, and you speak of Landon Castle, I like his position right here too, because as I look who's going to line up behind him, that's Michael Waltrip. As good as anybody here, he found a partner a while ago and really picked up a lot of speed. Landon Castle could be sitting in a good position.
Well, and don't forget, Michael Waltrip led only the last lap in last night's truck race, picking up his first win ever in that series. There he is in the 99. And for young Landon Castle, this is his first Nationwide Series start here at Daytona. And remember, he was involved in that 3-car incident back on lap 15 that brought out the very first of our 4 cautions.
Yeah, and that 1 car is no stranger to victory lane here either. The last time this car started on the outside pole was 1999 and went to victory lane with Randy LaJoie. Maybe Landon Castle can do it today.
All right, let's reset it for you because Kyle Busch has taken the inside line. DJ, I think you said you picked the outside?
Well, no, but he's got his teammate lined up behind him now. So until I saw what all was going to shake out there, that's exactly where he wants to be. He knows he's got his partner right with him.
On the outside, it's Boyer with Landon Castle right behind him. We're back to green flag racing here at Daytona. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oh, little contact up in front.
Still contact.
Everybody's hanging on to it. That was Castle's car. I can see the Phoenix Racing on the logo on the side. He's got Michael Waltrip right there. That's the one in the 99. It looks like they're okay. Up front,
look at Junior.
Here comes Junior, right behind the Joe Gibbs Racing duo. Keselowski has spun and coming back onto the track and gets tagged.
That's a hard lick right there.
Heavy damage to that whole right front corner on the 22 of Brad Keselowski.
Like Josh Wise in that 39.
And Josh, the whole front end of that Mustang is just shoved back.
Yeah, good to see that window net come down.
Yep. That's the sign. The 41 also involved in this. That's Patrick Sheltra.
Yeah, Patrick Sheltra just got tapped from behind as he was trying to slow down to avoid this.
Winning it down now on Keselowski.
So our defending series champion here late in the race with 15 laps to go.
Well, that's always scary. You see somebody come through the grass, through the tribal, knowing they're coming right up in front of traffic. Nowhere to go.
So our 5th caution is now out, and boy, look at the damage on that car.
Got a great car today. Good to see him wave the crowd there.
You hear the crowd giving these guys a round of applause once they know they're okay and out of the car, and Brad's surveying the damage. I'll let you know that Casey Kane had gotten himself into the lucky dog position in 13th, so he will get the free pass, get back on the lead lap. Remember, he had a penalty earlier. That set his effort back. Brad makes the walk back down pit road towards his pit box, and let's go back and show you exactly what happened.
I see a little jockeying by Landon Castle. Actually kind of made an abrupt move in front of Keselowski. We saw that on the back straightaway too.
And then, wow, what a hard hit.
Well, Josh Wise just nowhere to go and just piles in there.
It looked like Todd Bodine ended up with some damage on the front of his car there. I believe that's who that was that came in and got into the back of Josh Wise then.
From high above in the blimp. You're right. Landon did just come down a little too much.
right there. Castle was thinking maybe he was clear, trying to get in front of Keselowski.
I was going to ask you, do you think he was maybe coming in to get back in line because they had worked together earlier? Boy, when he comes shooting back up across the track.
Man, see all that foam flying out the door there.
All right, let's go back and listen one more time.
Check up. Stay where you're at right there. Watch your ass. You're clear up. Oh.
One more look. And the day is over for a couple of beautiful race cars. Oh, poor Josh Wise. He had nowhere to go. Stay with us. We're heading toward the checkered flag with 14 to go. With 12 laps to go here at Daytona, it has been a very eventful day for a lot of teams. A lot of beautiful new cars have been torn up. It has been wicked for some, very fast for everyone, and the two-car tandem has been the only way you can get to the front. That is the last caution that we have seen right there as Josh Wise comes together with the 22. Right now, Clint Boyer is the leader, and Tony Stewart is in second place, but Tony has a problem. Vince.
Well, you see it there, that right rear of Tony Stewart. Spotter Bob Jeffrey just radioed the crew and said, we got a flat right rear. Sure enough, now the pits are closed, but Stewart believes he needs to go ahead and come on in. Now they're going to open them up, so the pits are open. Stewart's going to go ahead and come. You see crew chief there taking a look, Bruce Cook, and communicating with Stewart in regards to the tire. Boy, this is a car that has been so good throughout the day today as he has worked with Clint Boyer to go to the front on a variety of occasions. Tony just said, no sense taking a chance. I got to go ahead and bring it to the pits.
I'm behind you.
Well, that's the bad news. The good news is there's only going to be 12 cars on the lead lap, so if he'll get back out, he'll only be in row 6.
Yeah, the big thing for him right now is to just take care of the body of that car so it doesn't get torn up. If he can get in there and get that tire change, he won't be at too bad a disadvantage. He'll have enough fuel and have good tires and enough time to maybe get to the front.
If there's anybody equally as disappointed as Tony Stewart, it's Clint Boyer. He just lost his drafting partner that was going to help one of those two to possibly win this race.
It's funny how these dynamics have changed, and they've switched off on partners a couple times today. The two that have stayed together all day are these two that are coming down pit road right now, Kyle Busch and Joey Logano.
And right behind also, you see the 32 of Reed Sorensen and Landon Castle. Let's send it to Doc.
Joey Logano coming down. They're going to make sure they top it off with fuel because of a green-white checker. They weren't completely sure they could make it. Dave.
Earlier, the Kyle Busch crew believed that they would be fine to the end, but this is how you stay with your partner and make it go till the end. The one car of Landon Castle as well. They'll actually change 4 tires, make Landon a little bit grippier as well as get to the end of the road. Vince?
Well, the 32 of Reed Sorensen is going to go ahead and come as well. You see him pulling off there. They went ahead and made a 4-tire change, added a little fuel on it as well, just to make sure he didn't run over any debris. There's the crew of Tony Stewart. Now, this is his Cup crew, so certainly well-versed in handling this situation. Bruce Cook, the crew chief, you hear him there just saying, make sure take your time. Make sure you get the grill clean. There's the leftovers of that right rear tire that had gone flat, but they want to make sure that there's no significant body damage on the right side. And went ahead and take care of that left side tires as well.
Tear off, comes off. Tony eases it back out onto the track, and as we said, he'll restart no worse than 12th.
Yeah, make sure he can see all that's going to happen in front of him.
It's going to be big.
Okay, while we were in commercial break, let's go ahead and catch up. We take this interview with Brad Keselowski and send it to Jamie Little.
And we just caught up with Brad Keselowski, who told us he is okay, Brad, but what happened from your perspective?
Well, I've been working with Landon Castle, and we had moved all the way through the pack and caught the leaders. And, you know, I came in and pit. I wanted to make sure we could make it on fuel, and I think that was the right move. We got right back to Landon, and I was going to work with Trevor Bayne, and I kind of had audibled from working with Landon. I don't know, maybe Landon didn't get the message, but he pulled down in front of me while somebody was pushing, and you can't stop. And so we just ran into each other, and it's a tough place to run into each other on the front stretch of Daytona. There's nothing you can really do, but, you know, I'm just impressed by my guys. You know, this is kind of a new team, and and our Discount Tire Dodge Challenger was extremely fast. I feel like we had a car that could definitely win this race, and I guess it just wasn't meant to be.
Glad you're okay. Brad Keselowski ends his streak of 102 straight races where he finished at the end. They will take him to the medical center now.
And that backs up what we were talking about, that we all thought maybe that's what Landon was trying to do, was get back down there with his dance partner. All right. Let's check in on some of the crew chiefs. First up, Doc, who are you with?
I am with Sunshine. Chris Heroy, the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Chris, where does your help come from for Junior these final laps?
Well, right now it's looking like the 99, but if Boyer gets away with a good start on the top, we'll link up with him. So see how it works out.
All right, looking for possible Michael Waltrip. And remember, folks, the 2001 Daytona 500, it was Waltrip and Earnhardt drafting by. Jamie.
And David Hyder is the crew chief for Clint Boyer, working together for the first time. You guys just lost your dancing partner there in Tony Stewart. What's the game plan now?
Well, I'm hoping the 5 car will get a hold of us and let us down in front of him and give us a push. But nobody's going anywhere without a dancing partner. I just hate Tony got caught up, had a flat tire there, and but it won't be long. He'll be back up there, so I wouldn't count him out.
Tony Stewart came on the radio and said to Clint, sorry about that, cuz. And Clint said, don't worry, man, you're not that far back. I'll wait for you.
Well, as we get ready to go back to green, 10 cars are either off or out of this race. We've already pointed out that a total of 12 will be restarting. Casey Kane gets the lucky dog. And you can see that in Eric Almirola's car, the guys are doing some extra duty work trying to get that car back out. Almirola right now 1 lap down in 18th position.
Yeah, you hear these crew chiefs talking and the drivers. It's going to be politics that might decide this race depending on who decides to work with who.
We've had 32 time Nationwide Series mark. His 36 set in April of 2007 at Talladega.
Still got a lot of cleanup going on the racetrack, so it's going to be a lap or two yet.
Yeah, pace lights are on, and the cars are still in single file. Saw Danica Patrick go through the screen, an update on her day. She is 14th right now, 1 lap down.
And these drivers are all now just kind of looking around and seeing exactly who's around them, who's going to be what's going to be their best opportunity, because they know that it's going to take a partner for them to have any chance of getting themselves to the front in these last 10 laps.
On board right there with Tony Stewart. A very good crowd today, the perfect weather. The grandstand's looking real good for this NASCAR Nationwide Series event here at Daytona International Speedway. And they have definitely seen a different style of race. If you can't do the 2-car 2-step, you're not going anywhere but to the rear.
No, we've been around a long time, seen a lot of different things take place here, but this has brought on something different. And it's a combination between the repaving of the track and this new car. The dynamics of all of that works to make these 2-car tandems hook up and work and go fast.
I also think it's something the drivers learned over the last few years. I mean, they've seen how this works. We saw Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards pull it off for Keselowski to get his first win at Talladega. And, so I think it's something that they've learned how to do better. I think even if we went back to the old car and maybe back to the old tracks, they would still have some form of this, because once they learn it, you can't unlearn it.
Cleanup still continues down in the turn 1 area, and we're getting word now that they are going to stop the cars back on the backstretch because the cleanup is taking a lot longer than everybody had assumed in the beginning. We officially have 9 laps to go as of right now.
Yeah, there's no sense in burning up laps while they clean this mess up. It did drag a lot of grass on the racetrack, and you see a lot of debris from some of the cars, so they want to get it all cleaned up good for the finish here.
All right, so that'll give us a chance to step aside for just a few moments. 9 laps remaining here. We're under a red flag for the first time here in the Nationwide Series opener, our event presented by GoDaddy.com. Tomorrow, ESPN and the Year of the Quarterback chronicles the incredible career of Conridge Holloway, the first African-American to ever start a quarterback in the SEC. ESPN's Year of the Quarterback presents The Color Orange, the Conridge Holloway story. It's tomorrow night at 8 on ESPN. We are under a red flag situation here with 9 laps remaining at the Daytona International Speedway, and it's because of a pretty wicked accident involving the 39 of Josh Wise, and Dave Burns has him.
The good news is, Marty, that Josh walked out of the infield care center under his own power. How are you after that big hit?
I'm all right. I'm going to be a little sore probably tomorrow, so it's a bummer. You know, I think my heart's hurt more than anything else. Just these guys worked really hard to get this thing here, and, you know, we were really in a position we were just trying to stay out of trouble, and I think it was the 22 car got turned or cut off or something and down in the infield, and, you know, you try to get where you shoot through those holes or you have to make a decision of where you're going to go, and, you know, it looked like I was going to be able to squeak around the outside there, but the hole closed up real quick, so that's it for us.
Too bad for him, and it'll be it for a little while for him. At the end of March, we'll see him again in Fontana in that 7 car, guys, but nothing planned until then.
All right, thank you, Dave, and better luck for Josh Wise down the road. There is Dale Earnhardt Jr. And across the top of your screen, we'll put in the current running order as we get you up to speed with Nationwide Insurance. While we're watching the run order across the top of the screen, we'll tell you that there are right now officially 11 cars on the lead lap. There should be 12 when Casey Kane gets the lucky dog. And of course, the man who's going to have a front row seat for what could be a very exciting last 9 laps is that man right there, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And it was just 17 years ago exactly today that Dale Sr. won his record 7th and last nationwide race at Daytona. And Jr. right behind him with 6. Let's talk to him. He's our in-race reporter, DJ.
Hey, Junior, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Sure do.
Hey, man, no, you're taking a little break there. Been an eventful day. What I'd like to know is, have you seen any change with the new surface as this day has progressed?
No, not till just now. I don't know what they got going over in turn 1, but I hope that another fluid out of that car eats the racetrack up.
All right, I know that your position either on the inside or outside is going to be determined by what Boyer is going to do and what he's going to choose. Have you decided who you would rather be working with here, or is it going to be you and Boyer making a deal?
He's going to the top, and he may get back in front of me, but I got a partner and Michael behind me if I need that. But we'll see what happens. Who knows, man? It's a gambler. We don't really know what's going to happen.
Hey, we've all been talking about just how different this racing has been, something that we haven't seen here ever, really. What's it like from the driver's seat and trying to get paired up like this? You enjoy this, or you like the big packs better?
I don't like pushing somebody the whole time. Makes me a little nervous, but so I just kind of rode around today until it was time to go. We'll see what we can do. I pushed a little bit for a little practice, but we should be good.
Are these cars pretty similar in trying to make all of this 2-car work as what you'll see with your Cup car tomorrow?
I ain't sure. It's about the same, I guess. It's just, I don't know. I don't really like the race the way it is, but it's the way it is. So we'll just do the best we can. And it's real similar to what we'll see tomorrow. We'll probably see it done even better tomorrow. So I think there's 43 cars out there. You'll see about 22 car packs.
Okay, man. Good luck to you and whatever you choose and what partner you get here. Hopefully you can win this thing, buddy.
Thank you.
So our red flag situation ends at 5 minutes and 46 seconds, and they are refired and back under caution. And you know, you heard Dr. Jerry Punch, and you even heard Dale Jr. talk about Michael Waltrip. They have finished 6 times at Daytona in all events, and Jr. has won 4 of those. So don't be surprised if you see those 2 hook up again.
Yeah, that's not by accident that they do that, finish 1-2. These 2 guys really understand the draft and the effects of it and how to get paired with each other and make it work.
Of course, it was an emotional night last night for Michael Waltrip as he came from 2nd place on the very last lap to get around Elliott Sadler and to take the win, the first ever in the Truck Series for Michael, but exactly 10 years to the day that we lost Dale Sr., and he was very overcome in victory lane.
Like Junior felt pretty confident that he had a couple of options there because feels good about having Michael push him, but if Boyer gets up in front of him, he'll just take that option too. So he's got a lot of options ahead of him.
Okay, let's talk about the restarts. We've noticed it takes time for these cars to spool up to speed. Let's check in with Tim Brewer at the Craftsman Tech Garage.
Hey, Martin, during the week, we've changed this tapered spacer several times. But NASCAR, they couldn't get to the point to where they wanted to slow the cars down. So what they did, they increased the size of the tapered spacer, but they went back and put an old-style restrictor plate under it. What that does, the air flows really smooth on the tapered spacer, but when it hits this ledge on the restrictor plate, it causes a lot of reversion. When the guys get out of the throttle, it takes a long time to recover, but as well, when they're going through the gears, trying to get up to speed, it slows the cars down as well.
Thank you, Tim, and you get a great view of it from both above and below there as Pace car has got the field in tow once again. They're back on the back stretch. We now have 8 to go. All right, let's talk about the Clint Boyer situation. He's going to restart on point. Let's listen in on the radio. What's the strategy?
Well, it'll come down to what dancing partner we got and how hard they can push us, my friend. Done a well of a job today. We appreciate it. We ain't done yet. We'll get it.
Now, the big question is, I mean, you said it yourself, you'd rather be in that number 2 position like we saw last night where Michael Waltrip slingshots around.
Well, I don't know. He's got a fast car, and you know what I like is Clint Boyer. He chooses that outside here, which looks like what he's going to do. He's going to have really good options. He can either get a good start and have Dale Jr. behind him, or he can stay up there and probably the best pusher we've seen all day in Trevor Bayne push him to the win.
Trevor Bayne's going to restart in the 4th position. How about Goodyear? Tip of the hat to them, the official tire of NASCAR. Everything we've learned making tires for one of racing's most grueling proving grounds inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
I have to say they've done a good job with the tire here today.
You know, we talked about the guys that are changing positions on the track. How about the spotters up above us here in the press box area, because there they are making their deals, and every time they team up with another guy, they got to go find that spotter because they can talk to him side by side. Let's talk a little bit about the deals in the pits also. How about it, Vince?
Well, certainly Tony Stewart has been shuffled back a little bit because of that flat tire, but his crew chief, Bruce Cook, has had some visitors. That's Nick Harrison in the 1 car, says they'll stick with him to the very end. Mike Kelly in the 6 car, Ricky Stenhouse, got up and said, we can lead you, but we can't push for more than about a half lap. So they've let Tony Stewart's crew know exactly what kind of help they can give if Stewart chooses to go with them. They've passed that word on to the spotters. The spotters have had communication. Everybody seems like they're ready to go. By the way, Stewart said, 9 laps, I got plenty of time left to get done what I want to do.
And he's going to restart 11th alongside of 12th place Casey Kane. That's the only cars left on the lead lap. From there on back, everybody's at least 1 lap down. And it is Boyer, Earnhardt, Waltrip, Bayne, your top 4. Then Stenhouse, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano through 7. 8th is Sorensen, 9th is Castle, 10th is Jason Leffler. Let's get a quick update on Danica Patrick's day. She's running well, Jamie.
She sure is, and under that red flag condition, she came on the radio and she was talking about what she learned earlier in the race when Clint Boyer hooked up behind her and pushed her to the front. Remember, this is all about learning. This is only her 2nd time here at Daytona. She's taking it all in. She's having a good time, too. So watch what she does here as we just have 8 laps here in the closing times here. But remember, her best finish in the Nationwide Series is 19th. Right now, she sits 14th.
Yeah, she did a good job as the pushee, but when it was her turn to push, that's when she ran into some problems. All right, the pace car is getting ready to come off. Think about this. Tony Stewart is restarting 11th. Well, at the beginning of this race, he went from 14th to the lead in the first 3 laps of the race. When we come by, there will be 6 laps remaining. Hold on, because here we go. Boyer on the high side. Down low, it's Earnhardt Jr. Green flag flies. We're racing at Daytona again. Coming out of turn 2, Dale Jr. has his choice. He's got Waltrip behind him, but he is right there with Boyer right now.
Looks like Boyer made his decision real quick there. He pulled down right in front of Jr.
Yeah, he wanted that experience. Nothing against Trevor Bayne. Trevor Bayne got shuffled back, and he's out of the picture for the moment.
And it looked like maybe Michael Waltrip got shuffled as well. There he is all alone down on the low side of the track. There goes Reed Sorensen with his help. Landon Castle in the 1 right behind with Tony Stewart.
Yeah, Tony Stewart's got a big push now on this 1 car. Let's see if they can go to the front.
This time by 5 laps remaining here at Daytona. Let's get more on the 1 car. Dave.
Marty, they thought if the 4 got up to the 1, they told Landon, just let him get up there and then he won't have a choice. He'll push you. He will be your partner.
Well, they have made the connection, and here they come down on the low side of the track. 21-year-old Landon Castle has a 5-time winner stuck on his rear bumper. They go past Reed Sorensen.
They're catching the leaders here, too.
There
a lot of momentum.
Joe Gibbs Racing duo. And then in front of them, it is Clint Boyer, followed by Dale Earnhardt Jr. 6 cars right now in this freight train. This time by 4 laps remaining here at Daytona.
Yeah, I was kind of laughing to myself as we talked about all these different scenarios during that red flag period. We didn't even mention Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, but they certainly are going to have a say-so in who's going to win this.
Well, they've been there all day long. You can see right there Joey Logano trying to push Kyle Busch.
They have been the best at the exchange, but I have a feeling right now nobody's going to agree to make it the exchange until we get down to the last lap. Here we go down the backstretch.
And even then, I don't think they'll agree.
What's that? We're teammates for 119 laps, and then we're going to go race on that last one.
Okay, here come the teammates, Turner Motorsport teammates on the high side.
They're trying to make it an 8-car. Look out, trying to split the middle. Castle
looking for a hole.
On the high side, here come the Joe Gibbs teammates. Who's going to lead at this time? It is Kyle Busch. We have our 33rd lead change.
Okay, just 3 laps to go. They've got to make a decision now.
No room unless you want to really go high, and nobody's been willing to do that up front. It's basically been side by side through all the turns.
Just a matter here, who can stay latched on the very best? Make this 2-car tandem work.
Boyer and Dale Jr. push their way out, and right behind him, Castle comes along with Tony Stewart. They do make the change. Logano goes back in front of the 18. That's going to allow the 32 of Reed Sorensen, along with Jason Leffler, to come up alongside.
That may have sealed the Joe Gibbs fate by having to make that switch.
2 laps to go.
Comes Castle and Stewart now. Still, they got a lot of momentum up on the top side. See if they can carry it by.
Is he going to push that car by? Well, as you see Tony Stewart duck out now.
Tony makes the switch.
And we haven't seen Castle be able to latch on and do quite as good a job when he was with Brad Keselowski earlier on.
They made a pretty good exchange right there, but it looks like they may get shuffled a little bit.
I've got a question why they would make that change with just 2 laps to go. I would let it blow water out. If it got hot, so be it.
I was really wondering if Tony Stewart was going to push someone else by his teammate up there with Kevin Harvick Incorporated.
Well, they've dropped back because the Joe Gibbs pair, Logano and Busch, have gotten around them. How about 10th and 11th through 12th? That's Michael Waltrip right along with Casey Kane. Then the 2 Fords back to the battle up front. White flag is out. Here we go. Who's going to win it at Daytona?
We see Reed Sorensen.
Oh, look out.
Okay,
Logano into the wall. He caroms off. Everybody else gets by. He'll go back into the wall. The white flag's still out. No caution on the racetrack.
Racing that into turn 3. Junior's right on the bumper. Clint Boyer.
Does he make history? Dale Earnhardt Jr. or does Clint Boyer win? And here comes Tony Stewart. He's getting the push from Castle. Coming out of 4. This is really going to be close.
Here goes Junior to the inside.
Junior to the inside. Boyer takes the lead and holds on and at the stripe. It's Boyer. Stewart. I thought it was Boyer, but Tony Stewart does it.
Wow.
Holy God.
Oh.
They're saying Boyer's the winner. That was too close to call.
I thought so too, and then the scoring monitor came up and said Stewart. It looked like Boyer had it, and NASCAR is saying it is Clint Boyer.
Well, Tony Stewart doesn't know that.
Now we're holding 4. Nope, it is official.
That's now Tony Stewart.
It is official.
Great job.
Woof.
4 in a row, baby.
4 in a row is right.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. 6 out of the last 7. Tony Stewart, his 16th Daytona win. And the streak continues. He's won at least one event since 2005 during Speed Weeks. Let's go back and take another look at this, because this was oh so close.
There it is.
It's right at the very front. 7 1/1000ths of a second. Incredible.
Oh, my.
Just incredible.
How does he find his way there every single time?
Well, you asked why he got around the exchange on Landon Castle. Now we know. He said, Castle, push me, buddy.
Landon Castle did a fantastic job of getting on Tony's bumper and pushing him right there. You saw Boyer try to make the block and then got back down with Junior. Woof.
Well, while Tony gets turned around to start the celebration, let's check in with Vince Welch.
Bruce Cook, the crew chief for Tony Stewart. Stewart has won 4 in a row, but I tell you what, you couldn't get much closer than that. What do you think your chances were when you had to go back to 11th with 9 laps to go after that flat tire?
I'll tell you, he's amazing, and our chances were really good. When the race started, we started 14th. We didn't qualify as good as we want to, but by lap 3 we were leading. So when we had that problem there on pit road, and I told him, I said, hey man, there's 9 laps to go, and lap 3 you were leading last time, and you can't tell him nothing. He assured me everything's good. He's got plenty of laps left. So what a great job by KHI. I want to thank Nabisco and Oreo and everybody involved with this thing. It was great. My first race to come down here and do this with him is awesome. Thank you to Kevin Delana, everybody at the Fab Shop, and everybody that's worked really hard on these cars. Ernie Cope, everybody.
Well done. Tony Stewart, the winner.
And the salute to Dale Earnhardt Sr., the 3 fingers out the window of our race winner, Tony Stewart, and an oh-so-close finish. He restarted 11th with 6 to go and won it by 7/1000th of a second.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Daytona is presented by GoDaddy.com, domains, websites, and everything in between. And in part by Carfax, free at your used car dealer. Just say, show me the Carfax. And Viagra.
Well, we tied the record for 35 lead changes here amongst 8 different drivers, and maybe on Saturdays we should rename this Stewart International Speedway, because here he comes, 4th time in a row, Vince.
6 years ago today, Tony Stewart won his first ever Nationwide Series race, and he has been dominant here at Daytona ever since. He has now won this race 4 times.